Road Runner fans. This is JJ Perez from Inside Runner Sports, and you are listening to episode 1 of my brand new podcast called 13 Questions with JJ Perez. I'm excited to start this podcast endeavor. Been kicking around a few ideas of how I wanted to do this and the kind of the format I wanted to do and the things I wanted to talk about. And, you know, those of you that have been following Inside Runner Sports for a while know that, you know, way back in the day, I used to have 2 people helping me run the website. And we used to do a kind of a radio hour where we'd kick around just current events, recap the games, preview the games, talk about whatever timely things that were happening at that time. And then fast forward a few years later, I was actually on an afternoon drive time AM radio show on Ticket 760 for about 20 months. And, you know, we talk UTSA probably once a day segment or so. And, you know, I really enjoyed doing all that. And I always kind of wanted to get back into that aspect of, you know, digital media. But, you know, things happen and you get busy and you kind of get into a flow of what you do. And I'm a big person of kind of providing the content that I like to consume, you know. So I'm a big Spurs fan. I'm a big Cowboys fan. I like the Atlanta Braves. I like NASCAR. And I kind of follow all these sports and different medias, digital media kind of aspects of journalism. And, you know, there are different things that I like. There are things that I don't like. So the things I try to do are the things that I like. So, you know, hopefully you guys end up liking that as well. And this particular podcast is going to be a little bit different than kind of your normal standard podcast that, you know, is going to recap a game or talk about, you know, what's happening that week. There are a couple of different UTSA podcasts that do that. So I encourage you guys to tune into those for that. But this is going to be a little different in that I am going to ask people around UTSA, starting with the football program, 13 questions every week. The thing that's a little different is that I'm going to ask people, players, coaches, the same 13 questions every week. So we will see the kind of responses we get to that. One of the questions in the middle is going to be a custom question tailored to the person I'm interviewing for that pod. And the last question is going to be a guest question. And it's usually going to come from the person I interviewed previously. So hoping to learn a little bit more about the people in or around UTSA football. And, you know, hopefully it's going to be a little fun. There's going to be some quirky questions, some sports questions, some personal questions. And we'll just kind of see where it goes with that. And, you know, if this thing is popular, we'll continue it season after season. It's not going to be a very long podcast. I'm hoping it's, you know, under 30 minutes for most of the guys, because we are doing this kind of in addition to the normal media activities we have every week. So I'm excited to get this thing off the ground. Like I said, I've been toying with the idea for a few years now. And I may even end up making me and Greg Luca from the San Antonio Express News do a video recap after the games. I may end up moving that to the audio platform as well. We'll just see how things go this season. But, you know, I'm excited to get this podcast off the ground. Up first on the 13 Questions podcast is UTSA football head coach Jeff Traylor. I think he hits these podcast questions pretty good. I mean, those who don't know Jeff know he's pretty funny. He's very personable, and kind of my custom tailored question was something I think we all wanted to know dating back to last season. And I think he opens up pretty honestly about it. So I hope you guys enjoy this conversation. We recorded it at Media Day, Conference USA Media Day last week. And, you know, here we go. 13 questions, Jeff Traylor. 13 Questions podcast, I'm going to ask everybody the same 13 questions throughout the season. So I'm starting with you.
Okay.
Going to hit Frank and Rashad. So
Okay.
There's one wild card question specifically for you. I know I'm known for throwing softballs at you, but I'm going to maybe throw a curveball at you in the middle. And then I have a wild card question at the end. So we'll just get started. What is your policy on naps?
Talk about like me personally?
Yeah, personally.
You know, if I could give the Hispanic culture if they were king for a day, it's unbelievable. I am to the point in my life where I think I better start looking into them because I burn at both ends so much.
Right.
I haven't done that yet in my life, but I can see where they'd be very beneficial. I've been reading quite a bit about it, and supposedly a 25-minute nap supposedly makes your work productivity exponentially higher. I haven't partaken yet, but there might be a day coming soon that I might start taking them.
So no naps for Jeff Traylor?
No naps yet.
Currently? Okay.
No naps currently.
Okay. Question number 2. Speaking of sleeping, how often do you have dreams about football? And then what was your last dream about?
Yeah, I would say that's pretty regular, pretty common. More so as the season gets going and end of the season. But yeah, I have I wouldn't know if they're dreams per se. Is I'll give you a story, a real story.
Yeah.
Like I dreamed against Western Kentucky. Like we haven't worked taking a knee coming out of our own end zone because we're always shotgun snap when we take a knee. But when you're on the 1 yard line or the 4, you got to do it under center, right? And I know that sounds simplistic, but if you haven't practiced it, because we don't go under center very much. So we practiced it that week like 2 or 3 times, and then sure enough in the Western Kentucky game, boom.
Foreshadowing a little bit there.
Frank told everybody like, Coach, how does this keep happening? And in my sleep stuff happens.
All right, question number 3. Not including your brother Kurt, what person at UTSA in the football department have you known the longest, and how did you meet them?
Coach Turner, 1993. Matt Turner, our chief of staff.
Yeah.
He was the offensive coordinator at Jacksonville when I went to work for Coach Long, and I coached receivers and quarterbacks for Coach Turner. And then when I got hired at Gilmer, he came to work for me. And we were there together for 15 years, and then he came with me to UTSA. Been with us 2 years now. Yeah, that's how long I've been here.
Yeah. Hey, people don't realize he's like a pretty good offensive coordinator from back in the day, right?
Yeah, I personally feel like he's the greatest teacher of the game in all of sports.
Wow.
If I need my deep snapper coached, I would tell him to go over there. If I need like my holder to work on throwing the football better, there's nothing Coach Turner cannot teach. He's 60-something plus, been coached over 40 years, a great student of the game.
Question 4, if you could pick one form of social media, which one, and just use that one, which one would you drop? Or which one would you choose, and why would you drop the others?
I would choose Twitter because I'm just pretty used to doing it. And I might be the only head coach that runs his own Twitter account.
Yeah.
That really is all me. All those goofy things, that's me.
Yeah.
I hate Instagram, and I'm terrible at it. I have had some of my coaches try to help me with that because I forget to do it all the time. I guess I'm not very photogenic, so I don't really want a bunch of pictures.
All right, question number 5. Who are the 3 greatest rappers of your generation? Are you a big rap music guy first?
I really probably wasn't naturally, but I played basketball, so I always was
hearing them.
Always. So,
how about country? You want to switch to country? 3 greatest country?
That's easier for me. That was more of my. It's more
your
natural
wheelhouse
for me. I was huge Garth Brooks, Clint Black, George Strait.
Oh yeah,
the typical guys. The rapper question would probably be tough. I would hate to even get in a debate. I'm afraid I'd get smoked on it.
No, I like the country. We'll stick with those guys. Question number 6, and I know this one's kind of an odd question, but, just sidestep it if you want. But what is the best way to get out of a conversation with someone who does not want to stop talking?
I'm big. My phone rings, supposedly, and I got to take a recruit's call.
That's a good one.
That's pretty money for me.
Yeah, I got to work.
Not that I would ever do that, but Or Dr. Compost, President Amy card. You can always play the Dr. Compost.
Oh, yeah. You have to take that call.
Those 2 calls, right.
All right, here comes the hardball question from me. This is wild card question number 7. Thinking back to this October, there was so many things happening with the program. You guys were undefeated, nationally ranked, the move to the American. But the biggest story probably was that week when you signed your 10-year contract extension. One, can you take us back? How stressful was that week for you when things were kind of in flux? And then 2, what does it mean to have kind of that set? You don't have to worry about it anymore.
You know, the irony was it was open week.
Yep.
You know, Carrie was gone. She was in New Orleans with Jordan. So I was by myself at the house. And I actually had some downtime, and I had all that going on all at one time. So it was literally a very surreal moment because I was just by myself, and I had to do some real evaluation of what I really wanted. And I really loved San Antonio, and I know this is a huge leap of faith.
Yeah,
it's probably like as a business decision, people that were like studying my decision would say this is not a smart business decision. Now I know it looks like it because of the optics of a 10-year contract and a very substantial pay raise.
Yeah.
But it was nothing compared to what I was being offered. So it was a leap of faith. I really had to reach into my soul. Frank and Rashad, I remember them speaking to me that week saying, Coach, you know, we lost too many games and it cost us our last coach. And now we've won too many games and it's going to cost us our new coach. I did not feel good in my soul leaving a university that had done everything I'd pretty much asked them to do, a fan base that had done everything that they could do, and we were 8-0. And and even looking back at it, I still think back, you know, I'm so grateful that we stayed and we won the memories we made, the conference championship, the Western Conference Championship. Yeah. I'm not saying it wouldn't have happened if I would have left. Yeah. It just would have been a huge distraction on those kids. I don't know how Frank and Rashad could have carried on, and my coaching staff. And I'm not there trying to over-exaggerate my importance.
Right.
I feel good in my soul about that. But it was a very stressful week. But I feel good in my soul because I love San Antonio and I love these kids and the university.
All right, next question. I know you're a big basketball guy, so this is NBA related. Who's your NBA GOAT? Jordan, Kobe, or LeBron?
Yeah, it's Jordan. We debate this all the time. Yeah. I'm sure I have some optics that of my age. Yeah. I named my middle child Jordan Michael, so I mean I've always loved Mike. But I have an unbelievable appreciation for LeBron and Kobe. Those are in our top 3. We voted as a team last year. Yeah. And we had Jordan as a team, barely number 1, LeBron number 2. The guy that doesn't get enough is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to me.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what he did. But anyway, I can talk about that all day.
It's a generational thing, right?
I agree with that. But I'm still, MJ he's just the GOAT to me.
It's Tim Duncan for me because I'm a San Antonio guy. So, question number 9. A genie appears and offers you the opportunity to go back to the beginning of your coaching career. You get to retain all the knowledge you know now. Would you go back and start over?
You know, Carrie and I talk about that kind of stuff a lot, so this could be a long conversation. I'm going to sound very corny, which is what Jeff Traylor is. But no, I would not, because it shaped who I am. Right. I mean, those Big Sandy experiences, I think Gilmer, Jacksonville, I don't want to say I'm humble because that makes me think I'm not humble, but my graciousness, my gratefulness, I think it comes a lot from just I've never been given anything. It's really been just the very bottom and work our way to the top, right? So I'm very grateful for everything, and I'm glad I didn't miss that step. Yeah. Because I want to always stay there, and I hope I ever lose that. I hope my best friends would come up to me and go, "You said you were never going to be that guy." So I wouldn't change anything, and I know everybody thinks I'm just being corny and lying, but I really wouldn't.
Yeah, awesome, good answer there. Question 10: you have to miss a game, an important conference game. Your offensive coordinator has to miss a game, and your strength coach, Coach Philo, has to miss a game. You're in charge of who gets to replace them, but the athletic department has a marketing deal saying it has to be a celebrity. It could be any celebrity. Everybody's available. Who do you put in those 3 positions?
So what am I doing here? We got OC.
Head coach, offensive coordinator, strength for the whole week. Game prep, important conference game.
Celebrities.
Has to be a celebrity so the school can market it.
I'd probably make Denzel Washington my head coach.
Denzel.
I think he would be really, I think he'd do a heck of a job.
Yeah.
Offensive coordinator. Man, who's a guy that's really smart, really cool with kids? You know, my strength guy would probably be Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Just probably because of that cowboy show he's on that I watch all the time. I'd have to go. Who was there with the guy for Peaky Blinders? That'd be my offensive coordinator. I want some gangster type guy calling my stuff. So, whatever those guys' names are, that's who I'd go with.
Question 11. What was the last new habit or lifestyle change you're proud of that you've made?
I'd say when I turned 30, it didn't bother me. When I turned 40, it didn't bother me. When I turned 49, it really bothered me. And I made a decision about a year before my 50th birthday that I was never going to miss a workout again. And I've been pretty true for 5 years.
Yeah.
Now, I did not work out this morning. I will admit I got to find a way to get it in today.
Get it in, yeah.
But I remember reading the quote when I was 49, if you want something you never had, you got to do something you've never done. And I have always kind of committed to the weight room twice a week, maybe 4 times a week. But I'm a 6-day-a-week guy. I take Sunday off. And if I eat bad on Saturday, which is a very common thing for me, I'm going to at least do aerobics on Sunday and pray and meditate while I'm on the bike or on the treadmill.
Well, you got that workout center right outside your office now, right? So there are no excuses, huh?
And at the house, we've even got something in the house now where I can get in there and get something done.
Question 12. When you think about UTSA football 5 years from now, what are you most optimistic about, and what worries you the most?
Well, it's a great question because those are the things that do keep me up at night. Well, I'm most excited about in 5 years. I want to see where we are in the AAC. It's a really great league. There's nothing. The Conference USA is a great league too. But it's obviously it's a step up. And I just want to see where we are at that time. What I'm most worried about is our infrastructure. Are we built to last? Are we sustainable? Are we going to do the things in the athletic department, which we have so far, to continue to stay on pace? Because I think we're on a tremendous upward crescendo because this is all about TV right now. And we have arguably the 5th to 7th largest city in the country, wherever you want to stand on that debate. And I know we have a lot of eyes to put on the televisions. And if we can put a great product on the field, I feel like that we will be invited to even bigger leagues and possibly Power 5 in the next 5 years.
In the next 5 years.
That's my vision. That's my dream. And what I always say, JJ, your dream should be so large, your prayer life has to match it. So when your dreams come true, you can't take credit for it.
All right, last question. Question number 13. So the podcast, what makes this a little different is that the previous person I interview asks the last question for the next guy. So since you're the first guy, I reached out to a couple of people to get a guest question, and I reached out to Mrs. Traylor. She sent a few suggestions, but I got a phone call this morning from Traylor Amy, UTSA president. So he gave me a question to ask you for this podcast, and he wants to know, what is the current book you're reading? What's it about? Why you're reading it? And then I want to know just what got you into reading so much. I don't think people realize you're such a big reader.
I try to read a spiritual book and a coaching book at all times. So what I'm currently reading is a book by Billy Graham. It's just kind of an old school, really old theology about why we're created, why we are here, why is there evil in the world, just some really deep stuff. I'm rereading Atomic Habits again by Cleary. And I also, on the way into work, I listen to a spiritual podcast. And on the way home from work, I listen to something to do with coaching. So right now, I'm listening to a podcast about a pastor and leadership on the way into work. And on the way home, I'm listening to Atomic Habits again on the audio book on the way home. So I try to read in the morning, read at night, get some podcasts on the way in, something on the way home every day.
Awesome.
Good stuff. Why do I read? Probably because my mom and dad were educators, and Carrie's a huge reader.
Yeah.
And she made our kids read when we were young, so I wanted to model for my kids, and I actually enjoyed learning reading, and it's just amazing how much you can learn just by sitting down and reading a book. And I would say this, for the guys that don't really love to read, I'm not like Carrie. I can't read for hours.
Yeah.
I'm a 15-minute, 20-minute, put it down, and then do it again. I don't read in long chunks.
Awesome. So that'll wrap up the 13 questions. I appreciate you coming on. The next 13 question podcast is going to be with quarterback Frank Harris. So you get to ask a question for Frank. So what would you like me to ask him?
What was Frank Harris's first thought when he saw the big, bald, wide-headed, goofy Coach Traylor walk in talking about the culture pillars? And did he really think it was going to all work, or is he shocked at the success?
Yeah, that's a good question. We'll see what his answer is.
I might not want to know the answer.
All right, Jeff Traylor on the 13 Questions podcast. Appreciate you coming on, Jeff.
Thanks, JJ.
Yeah, so I'd like to thank Jeff Traylor for being the first guest on the 13 Questions podcast. Pretty good conversation there. I think, he was pretty honest about that week in October when Texas Tech was trying to lure him away from UTSA. That was probably the singular biggest story of the 2021 season outside of UTSA winning the Conference USA Championship. And appreciate Jeff being honest there and opening up about how stressful it was, the thought process, and what it means for him to have that 10-year contract extension in place. I was kind of surprised that he is not a big nap person, which kind of makes it more amazing how he functions on a day-to-day basis, because he hits it pretty hard at both ends of the candle, so to speak, as far as, work and recruiting and working out and, just everything you need to do on a day-to-day basis as a head coach. So if I was him, I'd be getting a nap in as much as I can, but it sounds like that may be an option moving forward. So I'd like to hear some feedback if you guys thought any of the other answers to the questions were interesting. He's definitely a Jordan guy in the NBA GOAT conversation. And not wanting to go back to the beginning of his career and change it, which is kind of surprising, I think, because he had kind of a few bumps in the road when he decided to leave Gilmer and enter the college coaching ranks. So that's pretty interesting, kind of giving you a little bit more into the mind of UTSA head coach Jeff Traylor. So as you guys heard at the end of that conversation, quarterback Frank Harris will be up next on the 13 Questions podcast. Look for that to drop next week on all the feeds. I appreciate you guys listening. Thanks again. JJ Perez for Inside Runner Sports 13 Questions podcast.